Alrighty, fabulous. So, same as usual, that comfortable starting position can be wherever you would like it to be. Maybe your initial range of motion will initiate from that position, or maybe it's just a comfortable place for you to sit and take your scan of the body, which we will do now. Take that scan of the body from the top of the head to the tips of the toes. As you take your scan, just noticing, as always, without any judgment, anything that's going on in your body, any points of tension, any spaces that could use that little bit of extra love and care this evening, any spaces that are maybe a little bit tired or sore, and alternatively, any spaces that feel particularly good and are ready for a nice challenge in this workout. As you complete that first scan of the body, I want you to take one more as you move from the top of the head to the tips of the toes, taking in any of those places of tension, and with each exhale, finding just a little bit more of a release and a relaxation. So, if you're someone like me who carries tension in your jaw or your shoulders, allowing them to relax and release. If you find it somewhere else pretty consistently, see if you can just actively ask those muscles to relax a little bit, release some of that tension. As you complete that second scan of the body, I invite you to take any initial stretch, range of motion, ranges of motion that are going to feel good for you to get moving with. Like I said, we've got a little bit of a challenging workout tonight, and I want you to be ready to get grooving. So, any of those initial ranges of motion, stretches, wherever you'd like to be for about 6 or 8 nice deep breaths. We've got a little bit of time here. We are going to get properly warmed up before we get into our workout. And as always, taking that time to just kind of feel it out and see what's going to feel good. Maybe something that usually feels good doesn't feel right this week, and so you change it up a little bit, or maybe you just know exactly what you need and you can go right into it. And we've got about 4 more nice deep breaths. So nice and easy, keeping it going, finding those stretches. And taking 1 to 2 more nice deep breaths, just even out if you're hitting something that's two-sided, or make your way with that last nice deep breath on over to your comfortable seated position. We are going to go into those couple of regular stretches that I like to do all together, but we're just going to do twice in each direction for each of them. So we will start from the top, from the head and the neck. Once you make it to that comfortable seated position, that next inhale finds that nice long spine. Your exhale drops the chin to the chest. And then, like I said, twice each way, you can take it kind of at your own pace. Right ear to right shoulder, open up through the left side of the neck, maybe reach down. Exhale drops us through center, and then left ear to left shoulder. And then we'll just go one more time in each direction. From there, right to the right, and then left to the left. Following exhale, as always, drops the chin back to the chest. And then that inhale lifts the head back up nice and long. We'll take it into shoulder circles next. Still just 2 in each direction, so take them nice and slow and controlled up towards the ears and in that first direction. When you finish those first 2, just go ahead and switch it up. I know not a lot of shoulder circles, but we've got a lot to do tonight, so don't want to take too much time here. Lateral stretches next. So after you relax those shoulders nice and low away from the ears, inhale takes us up. Exhale takes that right hand down and that left arm up. And I want you to really focus on that reach with that left arm, fingertips up kind of towards that top corner of the room, grounding that left hip down into the mat. From there, your next inhale pulls us up through center and over to that second side. So left hand comes down, right arm really reaches. Nice big stretch there. And then we've got 1 more each way. Inhale takes us up through center to that first side. Nice big reach. And then 1 more time in that second direction. To that second side and that reach. Next inhale takes us back up to center and right into our spinal twist. Same thing, 2 each way. Feel free to take this at your own pace. Exhale brings us down in that first direction, opening up those shoulders towards that side wall. Inhales pull us up through center. And exhale in that second direction. And then just that one more time each way. As you finish that second time in that second direction, bringing it back to center, and then just releasing those arms down and around, releasing those shoulders low away from the ears. We're going to bring it over and do a quick set of cat and cows. So I invite you to make your way over to hands and knees. When you get there, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And then you can go on right ahead into your cats and cows. Find that breathing pattern, find that nice spinal range of motion, getting us ready to go there. So inhale is going to drop the belly towards the floor and lift the hips and the chin if that feels okay on your neck. Our exhale is going to round the spine up towards the ceiling, tuck the chin in towards the chest and those hips underneath. So just a few times here in each direction. Ooh, finding that nice stretch. My lower back is a little bit tight from sitting today, but getting it moving before we get into that core work. Very nice. Let's take just 2 more nice deep breaths in this cat and cow. And when you finish those 2, making your way back to that nice neutral spine. And then we'll hit our little bit of a lower body warm up. So we're going to start with that right leg. We're going to step it back as if we were going to press into our plank. But first, let's start with those calves and those hamstrings. So first, the calves, we're just going to rock that heel backwards and then forwards just a couple times just to get that nice stretch in, get the ankles and feet ready to go. And then we're just going to add to this a little bit. So we're going to take this towards where our downward facing dog would be, but not all the way. So we aren't going to step the left back to meet the right. We're just going to keep that pressure on that right foot. So toes are still curled under. And all we're going to do is as we shift the heel back is just shift those hips up. So that's going to give us a little bit more of that focus onto that hamstring. And then to shift out of it, we're just going to shift back down, set that knee down, take a little pressure off the wrist. So a couple times, same thing into and out of that. So as you press the heel back, press the hips up into that kind of partial down dog, and then back out to set that knee down. So we aren't looking for a bunch of core work here. We're just looking for that nice stretch, that nice warm up. And our first inversion of the day, as we start to bring that head kind of underneath the heart. Let's go ahead one more time into that and back out of it, and then we'll switch sides. And if you need that little break in between, when you set that right knee down, you can take a second, give your wrists a couple circles, give your shoulders a couple circles, and then we'll just switch those sides. So whenever you're ready, planting those hands, step that left foot back nice and long, and just start with that calf. So just that press backwards and then forwards, keep those hips low. Very nice. I've been adding some jumping rope to my routine, so my calves are super sore today. Ugh. All right, let's add that hamstring into it. So same concept. As we press back, we're just going to press those hips up, just kind of into that partial downward facing dog, that little bit extra of a stretch, and then back down. Couple times here. Fabulous. Let's go ahead one more time, all the way up and back down from wherever you are. And then again, if you need that little break for the wrists, for the shoulders, I invite you to take it. But if not, if they're feeling okay, we're going to meet in that downward facing dog. So either way, if you need that break or if not, when you're ready, let's take a moment and make our way into our down dog. So if you do need to roll out those wrists, give yourself that time, give yourself that second. If not, that first inversion of the day, as always, be gentle with yourself. Maybe the head needs to start a little lifted, and then you can start to drift those ears down between the biceps. Maybe we pedal out those heels. Maybe we nice and slowly shake the head yes or no range of motion. Maybe we alternate pressing both heels up a little bit and then both heels down. All right, we're going to do a little bit of work here in our downward facing dog just to think about form, just to think about activation. So some people will use this as a kind of more of a resting pose. I know we use this as a transitional pose, but I want to think about ways to make it a little bit more active, a little bit more work. So first, let's focus on the hands for just a moment. If the wrists start to bother you in this, the first thing I want you to think about when that happens is spreading your fingers out nice and wide and really pressing them down into the mat, taking some of that weight off of the wrist. So it's not all on the heel of the hand to take that pressure, but we're digging those fingertips down into the mat. From there, if you can, if it feels okay, those ears come at least towards between the biceps. So letting the head and the neck be nice and neutral with those arms and with the spine. Moving into the core, we want that to be active. So I'll talk about that sometimes in our halfway lift or in our plank, pulling the belly button just slightly in towards the spine and bracing the core. We're pressing the chest down towards the thighs. So really working on that stretch, really working on pulling together in the center. And then those heels can kind of rest wherever they're comfortable. And then the last thing we're going to think about is that contact with the mat. So the hands and the feet are obviously in contact with the mat, but to add even more work to this downward facing dog, I want you to act as if you could squish them together in the center. So I'm kind of pulling my hands and feet towards each other, but they aren't moving because they're solid in the ground. So really creating that activation pattern. From here, we're going to take a little break in about 10 seconds, but I want you to think about that activation for just another moment. Don't forget to breathe. Excellent. And we're going to make our way down to that child's pose to give those wrists, those shoulders, and that core a little bit of a break so knees down wide, big toes nice and close together, hips back towards the heels. Give yourself just a moment. So if you're comfortable in that down dog, maybe that wasn't super challenging, but if that's something that just in and of itself is a little challenging for you, hopefully that helped you create a little more stability. And if it is something that's easy, hopefully it helped you create a little bit more of a challenge, create a little bit more activation, and a little more work for the core. All right, this is where our flow is going to start this evening. So we're going to start moving a little bit slower, but then I want to work on getting our heart rate up a little bit in this one. I want this to be a good challenge. As always, if you need a break in the middle, feel free to take it. And as we move our way back through the flow, when we get back to our child's pose, you'll have some time to grab a sip, take a break, and any range of motion that you need from here. Let's take it into that downward facing dog. So lift the hips, curl the toes under, press the hips up and back. When you get there, take just a moment, find that activation pattern again. So press those hands down, press that head, those ears between the biceps, that chest presses towards the thighs, core is nice and active, and legs are nice and active. So also flex those quads, pulling those hands and those feet towards each other. From here, let's take it out to our high push-up plank position. Float those shoulders out over those wrists. So nice and steady here. All right, excellent. Little upper body work here to get us started. We're going to do a chaturanga with a push-up. So we're going to go down and up and then back down into our chaturanga. I'm going to drop those knees, especially for this first one as I get warmed up. And I want that push-up to be a tricep push-up. So those elbows go back just like they would in that chaturanga. And then we exhale, press back up to that push-up plank position. And then bring it all the way through our chaturanga. We're going to meet in that cobra. So lower it down, elbows go straight back, kind of like that tricep push-up. When you hit the bottom, go ahead and press it up into that cobra, nice little stretch. Take a moment there. And just think about how that feels for you. We are going to work in our upward facing dog, which we don't work on a whole ton, but we are going to give you some options here tonight. So if this cobra feels okay, when we come through it next time, we'll add in that up dog. Let's take this to our down dog one more time, very briefly as a transitional. Curl those toes under, activate the core, press the hips up and back. From here, we're going to make our way to our crescent lunge, right leg, three-legged dog forming a little stretch. And then let's make that transition. Bend the left knee, sweep the right leg forward, plant it down in that lunge. Ankle under knee, use that assist if you need it. When you're ready, find your balance, find your core, sweep those arms up. Again, we want this to be an active position. Think about that core being nice and active. And same thing as we did with those hands and those feet. We're kind of pulling those feet towards each other to activate through the hips, but both hips should face forward. From here, let's just add a little pulse for about 15 seconds, halfway down, halfway back up. So just that nice bend and extend. Getting that quad working. We've got a little bit of total body in this today. Lower body, upper body with that push-up. Lots of core. Very nice. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sinking into it just for another moment for me. We're going to make our transition directly to that other side. If downward facing dog is a little much for the wrists today and adding all that in, plus a couple mountain climbers that we're going to do is a little challenging, I invite you to transition through your forward fold instead. So you can fold it forward and instead of stepping back, you can step the left forward and switch back into our crescent. I'm going to take it through that downward facing dog, but you have that option. Either way, folding it forward, step the foot either front or back, and then we're switching sides so that left leg is forward. If you're in that down dog, make that same transition, that three-legged dog. Bend that knee, find your balance, find your core, sweep it up. Either way, we're meeting in that crescent lunge, left leg forward. Thinking again about pulling those feet towards each other, nice active core, and keeping those shoulders nice and low away from the ears so that the lats are active too. Let's add that pulse. Here we go. Halfway down, halfway back up. Keep that core nice and active while you're in this one. Looking good, looking good. Maybe a little bend and extend of that right knee as well. 3, 2, 1. Very nice. Right back into that crescent. We're going to make our way right back down to that high push-up plank position. So fold it forward. Plant those hands. Step that left back to meet the right. High push-up plank. Last one with those wrists in it here. We've got those nice and slow and controlled mountain climbers. We're going to do 8. So pulling that right knee under for 1 and extending back out. Left for 2 and extending back out. Right for 3 and extending back out. Left for 4 and extending back out. 5 and out. 6 and out. And 7 and out. Last one. 8 and out. We're going to come all the way down to the mat. You can use your chaturanga or you can drop those knees and just bring it straight down. Either way is fine, depending on how you're feeling. We're bringing it all the way to the mat and we're extending those arms out nice and long. Now, I mentioned the lat activation in our crescent lunge because we are going to move into that little bit of lat work. We've got our Superman with our lat pull down. We're going to do just 4 of those. So our first one all together, we're going to lift. We're going to pull those elbows down towards our side, activate those lats, pull the shoulders low away from the ears, extend back out, and lower down. We've got just 3 more of those. Go ahead and move a couple times at your own pace. In and out and back down. So really working as you pull those lats down, as you pull those shoulder blades together to activate through the back, to activate through the spine, and not just move the elbows nice and easy, but really think about the back. And this is my last one. And then we're going to turn it over and work on some core front. So we got a lot of shoulder, we got a lot of upper body. That was our back work, a little lower body in our crescent. Let's roll it on over. So I'm going to come all the way over so I'm facing the correct direction, but you guys can just roll right over from where you are if that works better. But we're going to bring it as if we just rolled over to on our backs. Let's hit a little bit of core front work as soon as we get there. So go ahead and pull your right knee in towards your chest. We've got our single leg stretch. So as always, left leg being higher is going to be a little easier. Lower is going to be a little harder. And the head and shoulders lifted is going to add that extra challenge. So go ahead and set up in that initial position. And then let's go ahead, nice and slow and controlled. Right goes out to meet the left. Don't forget that pause with both feet long. And then pull that other side in. For even more challenge, if you have the space, you can take those arms up overhead as you extend long, and then back in towards center as you pull it in. We've just got about 15 more seconds here. Keep moving, keep breathing. And again, if you need that little bit of an extra break, the lower back isn't feeling it today, feel free to take those feet up towards the ceiling a little more. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, pull those knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a moment, relax the head and shoulders. All right, our next build up takes that into our double leg stretch. Same concept. If you take those feet higher as we extend, it'll be easier. Lower as we extend, it'll be harder. Keep that lower back nice and safe for me. So we're starting in this position. Head and shoulders lift for more challenge. As we inhale, we extend long in both directions. As we exhale, we circle it back around to catch those knees. So a couple times at your own pace. Again, lower is going to be harder. Higher is going to be easier. Keep it moving just like that. And I like to try, when I'm not talking through the whole exercise, to time my movements with my breath. So maybe I inhale as I extend, and I big exhale to pull it back in. We're here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and take that little break, take that relaxation, pull those knees in, maybe little circles. We're going to take it up just one more step. And this one's a challenging step up. So I encourage you to use those hands for a little extra support as you need it. Let me demo that first two here. We're going to find our suitcase crunch. So our initiation is going to start the same. We're coming long. Instead of coming just knees in towards the chest, we're going to come up onto those hips. So option one, the more challenging of the two, is going to be not using those arms, pulling it up in towards center, kind of folding up just like a suitcase. Option two, if you know that's going to be pretty tough for you, is going to be to use those hands. So I'm going to plant them right next to me. Instead, I'm still going to extend long. And as I exhale and as I press up, I'm pressing into those hands and I'm using them for that extra support. And then option three, if you'd like, I'll give you that halfway cue, is going to be to plant that single foot and do one foot in and out. And like I said, I'll let you know when we're at halfway and you can switch. It'll be pretty quick. So go ahead and get set up right in towards center. Our first move is going to be to extend. Our second move is going to be to exhale and pull it up towards those hips. All right, here we go. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and get moving. Whether you're doing single or double legs, starting off with that first one. Big exhale brings us up towards center. If you're doing single leg, do one more and switch for me. And last one. Give me one more, all the way out and all the way back up. And then stay seated up nice and tall. Just plant those feet. Whew. All right, that was a tough one. We've just got two more core front, and then we'll take a nice little break. Nice little break after this. All right, next one is going to be another movement. Last one is going to be just a very brief boat hold because I know that was a lot of big movements, so lots of work for that core front. First one's going to be our Russian twist, though. So we're initiating from this position. We're bringing it back. Those heels can stay down or they can lift, whatever your preference is. Hands come into center. We're working on that side to side. Open the shoulders through center and other side, making sure that your lower back is nice and long and strong. We're not rounding it out. If you are, plant those heels and bring it back to it. And we're also not thinking about speed here. We're thinking about opening the shoulders side to side. Here we go. Getting it moving in that Russian twist. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. We're here for just another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I'm going to count a little faster. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice. Take a little recovery pose. Maybe you lean it forward. Maybe you lean it back. You guys are doing awesome. We are almost through this core segment. Then we get a nice break after this. Whew. All right. Last one, as promised, is just going to be our boat hold. So we're bringing it back to that initiation position. We've just got about 10 seconds in that hold. So go ahead, sit it up nice and tall. Start that out with that nice long spine. Bend those knees and plant those feet. Option one is to have them planted. Option two is to take them up to that 90. Option three is to bring them out nice and long. Either way, we're going to find a nice little angle with the spine after it's nice and long. Let's bring it into that pose. Bring it up. Again, those heels can stay down. If you are having those heels down, give me that little bit of an angle. Make it a little challenging here. We're just here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Take a little recovery. Our next move is going to be grab a sip and bring it over to child's pose to give your lower back a nice little bit of release. So grab that sip of that beverage, or maybe just a range of motion if you don't have your drink right next to you. We're bringing it back over to our child's pose, that starting position. We're going to give that core a little bit of a break, not much of a break, as we move back to that upper body, that chaturanga work. If, when you make it to that child's pose, it feels good to do so, you can walk those hands to that right side of that mat, open up through the left side of the body. And if you found that and it felt good, go ahead and take it back over to that left side. Open up through the right side of the body. And then bring it back to center. We're going to take 2 more nice deep breaths right down center in that child's pose. Give that lower back a little release. Try and send those muscles that cue to kind of release and relax. Before we move into this next section. All right, very nice, very nice. With your next exhale, let's make our way into that downward facing dog. A little bit briefer this time. We don't have all that warm up, all that movement. Curl those toes under. Press those hips up and back. Find that nice active positioning again. Press those hands down, ears between the biceps. Press the chest back. Activate the core. Activate the quads. Pull those hands and feet towards each other. Very nice. High push-up plank position brings us out nice and long. Shoulders over wrists, or maybe just a little bit behind if that feels better. We've got our single push-up and then our chaturanga. Toes or knees. Elbows go straight back in that tricep push-up. And then that nice and controlled chaturanga down to the mat. When you reach that mat, go ahead and bring it up into our cobra. Now from our cobra, again, you can stay right here, but if you want that extra challenge, and you can incorporate this anytime we go in through this movement, to up that challenge, we're going to take this into our upward facing dog. I'm going to put pressure through the tops of my feet. I'm going to get my core nice and active. So this isn't about that stretch. It isn't about rounding out that spine towards the floor. Nice active core to protect the lower back. And then I'm just going to float my quads up off of that mat and add that little bit of an extra challenge. If that does not feel good, do not do it. Just keep it in that cobra or that baby cobra. From here, since my core is already active, I'm going to keep it active as I take it back up to that down dog, or activate your core, turn those toes under, press those hips up and back, downward facing dog. Whew, very nice. All right, let's take it for that crescent with those pulses. I'm going to take my right foot, three-legged dog, bend that knee, sweep it forward, plant it down, find my balance, find my core, sweep the arms up. Crescent lunge, crescent lunge. Whew, when you get that balance in, just settle in for a moment. I'm pulling those feet towards each other in the center. I've got those lats nice and active, pulling my shoulders down low away from the ears. All right, let's add that pulse. Halfway down, halfway back, that little bit of extra work for that quad. You can always bend and extend that second knee as well if that feels okay. 4, 3, 2, 1. Sink into it for just an extra moment. Same 2 transitional options. If down dog isn't your jam today and you'd rather go through forward fold, step forward instead of backward. Here we go, bring it down. Feet go to meet, either to the front or the back. And then same thing, bring that left leg forward for that crescent. Find your balance, find your core. Nice tall spine, nice long torso. Pull those lats down, pull those shoulders down. Pull that core in. Nice bend in that left knee, feet pull towards each other. Add that pulse for me. Here we go. Whew. All right, my quad is already yelling at me a little bit. Keeping on working, keeping on moving. Fabulous. 3, 2, 1. Sink into it. All right, we've got those mountain climbers next. Let's make our way to our high push-up plank. Let's fold it forward. Plant those hands. Left goes back to meet the right. And we've got our 8 nice and controlled mountain climbers. I counted us into it last time. I'm going to have you take it at your own pace this time. When you finish it off, we're bringing it all the way down to the ground again. So we've got those 8, 4 on each leg. Pulling it underneath, nice and controlled. Try and keep those hips low and pull that knee in as close as you can. When you finish, like I said, just bring it down to the mat. We've got those Supermans, those lat pulls next. I lost count because I was talking, but bring it on down when you're ready. Whew. All right, we've got 4 of those Supermans with our lat pulls, a little more upper back work. Extend those arms out. Here we go. We're gonna lift it up. Elbows in, pull the lats down, pull the shoulder blades together, extend out and lower down. 3 more, 3 more. Keep it going at your own pace. You guys are doing fabulous. This is a tough workout. Looking good. I hope your heart rate is up as much as mine is. Whew. And after that last one, we're flipping it over onto our backs. We're taking it back for that core front work. So make your transition however you would like to. You can roll it right over. You can turn it all the way around like I end up doing. And we're bringing it onto our backs. We're starting with our single leg stretch again. That knee pulls in towards that chest. This is probably the last time we will get through this core segment. So give it your all, and it will be. So we're pulling that knee in towards the chest. Again, the head and shoulders lift a little bit. For that extra challenge, lower is harder, higher is easier. Here we go. Right goes out to meet the left, and then left pulls in. Again, extra challenge is going to be to add those arms to this movement, but you know what's coming next. So if you know that that's going to make those other movements not doable for you, just keep those arms right in front of you. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull those knees into the chest. Give your core front a little break. Give your lower back that nice little rock and roll. Whew. Excellent work. Double leg stretch is next. The torso stays on the ground for this one. We initiate from this position. Again, head and shoulders can lift for more challenge. Our inhale takes us long, our exhale pulls us in. Here we go. Long extend. Lower is harder, higher is easier. And then circle around to catch. You guys are rock stars. We are almost there. We are so close. Last time through this core segment, stick with me on this movement for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fabulous. Give yourself that break. Give yourself that break. All right, same 3 options for that next one. We've got that full suitcase right up the center without using those arms. We've got that suitcase using those hands for support, and we've got that single leg. We're gonna do 8 total. If you're doing single leg, give me 4 on each side. If you're doing double leg, just go ahead and give me those 8. Whenever you're ready, let's go ahead and get into it. So we're gonna extend long, and then we're pulling up onto those hips for this one. We've got 8. Choose the version that you like best. If you want that single leg, 4 on each side. Use your exhale to really power up off that mat. Hopefully you can't hear my shoulders crunching in their sockets. I need to work a little more on my shoulder mobility, you guys. Maybe you'll see that next week. I think that was 6 for me, so I'm gonna do 2 more, finishing out your 8. When you're done, we're coming into that Russian twist next, so you can kind of rock it forward if that feels better. Whew. Very nice, very nice. All right, 2 more core front exercises. We're almost through that. We'll do a little bit more of that work on that upper and lower body if we have the time. But first and foremost, let's hit our Russian twist next. Heels down or heels up, either is fabulous. Nice long spine. Rock it back, hands in, shoulders side to side. Again, heels can come up if you want that extra challenge. Just make sure that those legs are nice and stable and we're going nice and controlled. So if you're rocking those legs side to side as you move, keep them right down center. Maybe set those heels down. Work on that stability rather than that range of motion. We've got 4, 3, 2, and 1. Give yourself a little break. Take a moment. Whew. Excellent. All right, final one on that core front is our boat hold. So same options as before. Heels down, heels up, legs long. Whichever one serves you best. Find that long spine. Choose that foot positioning. Bring it back as long as you can without that spine. Rounding out towards the mat. And then let's bring it up into that boat when you're ready. Here we go. Here we go. That nice static hold. We love a little isometric work at the end of that core front work. We've got 5 seconds. Can you take it just a tiny bit lower or can you lengthen those legs? 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice. Very nice. Take your rest, your relaxation. Maybe it's a fold. We are going to make our way into our child's pose. So feel free to just make your way right over there. We've got about 4 minutes left. We're just going to do a tiny bit more, which will take us into our stretch. So grab a sip if you need it. Bring it on over, child's pose. Give me 2 nice deep breaths here in this child's pose. All right, we're gonna take it this time even more briefly up into that down dog. Lift the hips, curl the toes under, press the hips up and back. From here, right out to that high push-up plank position. Let's finish off that upper body work strong. Let's give it 1 more chaturanga push-up. So tricep push-up, toes or knees, down, exhale back up, and then chaturanga brings us down to the mat. So elbows go straight back, nice and controlled. When you hit the mat, press it up, cobra, or that upward facing dog. And let's give it that little stretch and flow, that cobra to child's pose real quick, just to release those hips and that lower back. Plant those knees, press those hips back, find that stretch. Press it back forward to cobra or baby cobra. And we're gonna do one more time, just like that, each direction. Cobra, child's pose. One more time, cobra. And then bring it up to hands and knees for me, hands and knees. Instead of that crescent pulse, we're gonna do twice each direction for our low lunge to hamstring stretch. So I'm leaning it to the left. I'm circling that right leg around to find that low lunge. All right, twice each direction. So our first one presses us forward here into that nice low lunge. Our exhale presses us backwards, or our inhale, whichever feels better for you. Lengthen the front leg, lift the front toes. One more time each way. We press it forward for that stretch. We press it backwards for that stretch. Very nice. And then just that nice, easy forward just to take us out of this position. We're going to circle that right leg around so the knee meets the left. And then same thing on the left side to finish us out here. So when that left leg gets forward, twice each way. So that exhale presses us forward, or that inhale. I keep doing that one backwards, whichever feels better. Press it back, lengthen that front leg, lift those front toes. Excellent work tonight, you guys. Press it forward for that low lunge. And last time, press it back for that hamstring stretch. Alrighty, we're gonna come just 3/4 of the way back in to that lunge. Curl the right toe under, lift the knee, step the right foot forward to meet the left. Inhale rolls us all the way up, extended mountain. Arms up overhead. Exhale brings the arms down and around. Last nice deep breath, those palms meet up overhead. Inhale takes us up, palms meet. Exhale pulls the hands down to heart center. Thank you for joining me this Wednesday evening. Excellent work on a tough workout. The light in me honors the light in you. Bowing, as we say, namaste.